Hi everybody, welcome. Today I'm going to teach you how to tie lead onto this hook right here. Now I use the Alec Jackson hook, the gold hook here. You've seen that in a couple other videos that I have. The reason I'm using this hook is not because I always use this hook for every fly that I tie. I'm just using the big hook so that everybody can see this really good as it happens. Now the first thing about this is that you'll notice that I've laid down a really nice generous layer of thread right there. The reason for that is if you watch the other videos about the base wrap where there's gaps in there, lead will move around on this hook here really a lot. But when you have the material, the thread on there, it seems to stop the lead from turning on the hook because you will wrap this section here with lead, which is generally what you would use for a woolly bugger or a wet fly or something that you want to get down really low in the water. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to lay down a piece of lead right here and then I'll show you the importance of exactly how to wrap it. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is, I talked about my needle nose pliers. Here's a good use for them right here. Instead of using your thumb, which it doesn't really hold it that good, you clamp the needle nose pliers down alongside the hook with the lead like this. You trap it in there, and then what you do is you wrap the lead onto the hook. And when I wrap my lead on, I don't go like this. I try to use this spool like this and unwind it from the spool and on to the hook. That makes a nice smooth layer of lead, and then you can work with it a lot easier when it's nice and tight like this. So that's what I do. I keep that out of the way there. So I'll just wrap this around here like this, and I'll kind of coil this up a little bit here as it comes off. Wrap it around here, wrap it around here. Again. Now, for those of you that have the Renzetti vise that I have here, you actually can do this here. You can actually wind your lead up like this a lot easier. Now, I pointed out the difference earlier on in the differences between vices. This is one major thing right here. Now, look at how much lead I'm spinning on. Boom, boom, boom. I can really get that stuff on there as it's going around, right? Now, I got that on there rather quickly. Now, I could do one of two things. I could pinch this off with my finger, or I could use my scissors here. Some guys would, their first instinct would be to grab the scissors and cut that. What that does is it puts metal on metal, which is a very bad thing for your scissors, guys. Never, ever cut anything with your scissors that is metal. Mylar, okay, kind of looks like metal, but it's really not. It's a polypropylene type of plastic, and so metal on metal, very bad idea. Never do that. When I pull my lead off, all I will do is I will take my thumbnail right there, and I'll take my forefinger and I'll pinch this right here, and I'll hold the hook still, and I'll just give a little tug on it, and it comes right off nice and clean. And now you look at this, look at how that very last, I don't know if you can see this up close, but this very last piece of lead right there laid down nice and tight. Okay, so now we have a nice tight wrap of lead on there. Now what we have to do is we have to cover this up, because again, you have a smooth shiny surface here, and the material when you tie on your feathers is going to want to move around on this. So what we have to do is we now have to cover this up. If I were to take my thread and just go like this in between these things, I would have to wrap a lot of thread right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap my thread in big loops over this way, onto the front, over this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. See, when I wrap my thread in wider gaps there, what it does is it goes across, so that now when I come up through the front and I go wrap, 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 wrap over the top of that, see, I'm not actually sinking down into the lead, which the thread will do, and you can waste a lot of thread by doing that. So to prevent that, what you want to do is you want to wrap your thread in big loops like this. So now I'm going to real quickly just kind of wrap this up. Okay, now what I've done is, actually what you've seen is all of a sudden there was a bunch of thread on my hook here. It takes a little bit of time to wrap all this thread onto the hook here, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to cover up as much of this silver from the lead as I can, because when the hook is down in the water and that silver part comes through, it can actually detract from the material that you're trying to lay onto the hook. It can actually take away from that color or alter or change the color. So the best thing to do is to try to cover as much of the lead as you can. Now, there's one other important thing. I learned this from a man named Arnie Gidlow, and he's from Jackson Hole, Missouri. Very accredited fly fisherman, owns his own lodge out there. I encourage you to stop by Arnie Gidlow's place out there in Jackson Hole. It's a great place. The Missouri River, he does all the guides. He does hunting guides and fishing guides as well. He taught me this trick at a fly tying seminar here. What you do is you lay a bunch of thread right down here in a cone shape at the end of the hook here. Now I'm going to wrap this up real quick here. Okay, now I'm building up a cone shape, and it's actually going to cover the end of that lead. Okay, now I don't know if you can see this or not, but what I've done is I've taken and I've built up the thread right on this little end piece here, and it's a cone shape, and what it does is it actually forces that lead to stay put where it's at and shoves it even tighter together. Then I come to the front and I do the same exact thing, and I create a little cone here. Okay, and there you have it. That is the best way to tie lead onto a hook right there. Now you can begin to lay your materials on here. You've got a nice thread base. You don't see a big, huge, fat hook right there. You've got a nice, thin, almost a very little change from the natural hook there with your lead on there, and that is enough weight to sufficiently get your fly down as low as it can possibly go. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this part of the seminar, and there it is, lead on the hook. Thanks guys, see ya.